to kind of start things.
I mean, we're good. This is it. This is the show. Right. I don't need you judging me about haircuttery stuff.
No, I don't want to. So, Alex,
Yeah.
I heard something interesting today. I was in a bookstore, independent bookstore.
Okay.
And I was browsing, and I took my book and I brought it up to the counter. And behind the counter, they were having some banter. They're having a little conversation. Two of the clerks, and one person turns to the other and says, "Listen,
Oh God,
if your pancake recipe has more than 5 ingredients, you're doing it wrong." And
this
I was
actually
like,
happened. This actually.
Yeah, this 100% happened earlier today.
Okay.
So I think
More than
that's
5
how
ingredients.
Yeah, that's how I knew that today was going to be good Waffles versus Pancakes Day.
Okay.
Because
What-
I
Yeah.
got a sign from a bookseller. That,
But a bookseller was just like, actually, I mean, if you ask me, you only need 2 ingredients for a good pancake.
you're talking about like Bisquick and water?
No, I'm talking about Alex O'Neill and Brandt Ranj. Oh, boom!
This would be really, really awkward to eat. It's like cannibalistic pancakes.
Yeah, it's you shouldn't do that.
No. That's not what you need to do.
No, I mean, I can't think of what eggs, flour, sugar, milk. That's 4.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like that. Yeah,
And
I
baking
agreed
powder,
with the
maybe.
man. To be honest with you, like I agreed with him. It's not like I
Yeah.
was out of my mind. I didn't say anything, but in my head I was like, "All right, fine, sir. You
Is
you know,
the 5th ingredient love? It's actually no, it's butter. Right? You would need butter in there, right?
you have to grease the pan."
Yeah, I guess you wouldn't need it. I guess it would be baking powder.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure I've seen banana pancakes where it's just
Just
vegan.
Bisquick and bananas. Yeah, we know.
Yeah, exactly.
You just cut the bananas into the little Bisquick, then you shake it up.
Oh, I thought you meant like you're like how people cut drugs with other drugs. You're like you take your bananas and you cut it with baking powder.
Yeah, you just lace it in there.
Yeah, exactly. all straight lace like. And,
Yeah.
And yes,
Brandt Ranj.
me.
I'm Alex O'Neill. You're
You
Brandt
are
Ranj.
Alex O'Neill.
This is Waffles versus Pancakes,
It is
episode
Waffles
3.
versus Pancakes.
This is your week, man.
I know, it's my week. So the whole premise of the show is that Alex and I chat about something.
Yeah.
And the other person doesn't know what we're talking about. One of us picks something to talk about. Alex, I want to talk. We spoke about movies.
Movies,
last,
like yeah, I was gonna say like now we're gonna talk about superhero TV shows, right? That's what you're way into.
Oh yeah, no. I you could sense my palpable fucking enthusiasm for our topic last week.
I'll
Based
say
on
I'm much more awake now, so like I'm in good spirits.
high spirits.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're both high and good.
I mean,
It's,
don't the two words go together more often than not? Excuse me.
Oh man, sounds like somebody the roles have been reversed, have they not?
Yes, to quote Dr. Zoidberg from Freakorama, my God, Futurama,
Freakorama.
the rubber band is on the other claw. I think I wanted to do like, I wanted to cut Freakazoid with Futurama there for a second.
Freakazoid's a great show.
It is. Nut
I,
bunnies is a great thing to say when something
Yes.
bad goes wrong.
Oh, totally.
So my topic is my domain is music. Music is my domain.
I was hoping that you would.
Oh,
it would be
yeah,
something.
but we're gonna
music-related.
because I can ramble on. I could rangle on for a long time.
You could Branjo Kazooie on. For
I could
like
I could
hours.
play my Branjo Kazooie. That sounds so bad.
It does. It's the worst.
But
Who
I love
thought of
that. I
this?
also love that it exists.
Oh yeah.
That's a good thing.
I hope
That's the account I use when the fiscal quarter is over.
Yeah. Somebody follow Branjo Kazooie 16 on Twitter and tell me what's up with them.
Oh, you know it's not me because I never have numbers in my accounts.
Okay.
I mean, I know that
just pointing fingers over here, aren't we?
I was gonna say I don't want to cast any dispersions on any other member of the cast.
Like you were just like I'm not shitty at social media.
Yeah. I mean, I believe in having an idea so original that it wasn't taken by another person.
26 other times.
Yeah.
Listen, it was out of necessity.
Okay. What's the necessity?
I just like the numbers 27. That's the necessity. 27 is my lucky number.
necessity. No, that's good. No, it's good. It's good to have an arbitrary lucky number that you just
know what?
insert into things.
It's done me well. Yeah,
Listen, it's certainly a way to live your life.
Okay. All right. There is no. If you Google search Alpha 27, I'm the only thing that comes up. That's
I know. I know.
you did
That
good.
makes sense.
All right.
Because it's 27.
You know what?
Alphider's there chilling out, having a mojito, being like, "My goodness."
See, the problem is during the time in my youth, it was like what 2009.
Okay.
I got my Twitter in 2008, while ago, and I never used it. And then I was like, I'll use this. I'm like, the 27's stupid, so I switched it to Alphider, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then a bunch of people who followed me got confused, which is dumb. I understand that. And so I switched it back because that's pure. That's what it's always been. I'm not Alphider on PlayStation Network or whatever or anywhere else.
Oh, good God, no.
So I was like, all right, consistency over, whatever the other option was, over a good idea. So
yeah, no, you chose between creativity and pragmatism. You chose pragmatism.
I mean, it was kind of creative.
Listen, I have a penchant for naming things. So if you want to abandon your lame handle,
no,
for
listen,
a hot new one, then just let me know. Lay a text message on me.
I think I'm too late in the Alphider 27.
No, you know what? That's true. I oftentimes I go into random establishments and I hear people telling tales of Alphider 27.
Of the Alphider 27.
Yeah.
Pirates, apparently.
And his conquests.
Yeah, I mean,
how
I don't
cool
want
he
to
is.
brag, but they are some sea salty tales,
Right. No, they are sea. They're certainly sea salty tales, and I know why you're so attached to this name that everybody knows you by this moniker, this title.
I'll have you know that on an IGN live show for E3, Greg Miller and Damon Hatfield read my Twitter, and they immediately recognized it was me because of the handle.
That's cool. That is really cool.
I freaked out, so yes, it was very cool.
You called up Alphider, the original one. You're like, see?
They both referred to me as a good friend, so I'll have you know, I felt very good that day.
Well, because you're a good friend to some good people.
Yeah, very true.
What
the fuck's your topic, Brandt?
my topic has to do with music and not berating Alex based on his Twitter handle.
Single tier.
So here's what I want to know. I want to know the story. I want to know the origin story. I want to know, oh man, pun intended, the genesis of you coming to have your favorite band. How did this band come into your life?
Whew. Okay.
First off, what is the band or group or MC or person?
I was going to say my favorite band, my favorite musician.
Right. No, your favorite musical source
is an artist.
Okay. Is he formally known as something?
No.
Okay.
It is not Prince, who I believe is the only artist formerly known. See, like, there has been a piece of music that has come into my life very recently, February, that is, I think, probably my favorite album, and probably one of my favorite bodies of music ever created. But that band only put out that album, and that's it. And that was in 2007, and I am very, very attached to it, and I love it. But I don't know if that album like supersedes the variety of work that my favorite artist has put out. So I'm appealing to you.
I mean, you have to pick. You have to make this choice. You have to choose which one.
I'll stick. I can talk about that because we should talk about our favorite albums on one of these.
Yeah, but that's a whole other.
Yes, that's a whole other thing.
So I can bucket of syrup. That's a whole other recipe. It's like a chocolate.
That's a whole other fifth ingredient.
Yeah, it's a fifth ingredient. The fifth ingredient is love.
It's love. Yeah, we can talk about that. That's a whole other topic. So I'll save that for them. My favorite artist is Kanye West, and I know that he gets a lot of shit. Rightfully so. And you know, it's not like my favorite artist is Kanye West, the person. No, he's a celebrity. He's kind of a dick, more than most. He does stupid things, but he makes really, really dope music. So what's yours? Just and then we can go into the backstories.
Oh, it's the Beatles. Beatles.
Okay.
Is my pick.
Okay. I mean, you talk a lot about Pink Floyd, so I wasn't
right,
sure.
but that's because Dark Side of the Moon is like a seminal album that we're gonna have to listen to. But the Beatles are my favorite band of all time. Yes.
Okay. So like I guess kind of my relationship with Mr. West is it's not like super exciting or eventful.
Oh, you mean you don't just hang out with Kanye from time to time? He's not like Al Fighter 27 is a
Brandt.
good friend.
Brandt.
Yes.
He prefers Yeezus.
Sorry about that.
No, me and Ye, we don't go back like super far. So let's start like with like because my kind of like love for rap is kind of like what led me to Kanye West. The first album I ever listened to was in the year 2000. I was 7 years old. I'm very young. But I didn't listen to music as a kid a lot. I mean, my dad played a lot of music that I wasn't like a huge fan of. That kind of exposure. It was a lot of classic rock. I went and saw plenty of concerts with my dad because he just dragged me along because he couldn't get a babysitter, which is great.
Aerosmith was your babysitter.
Yeah, there you go. Now, Bruce Springsteen was my biggest babysitter, I think. I saw Bob Seger, Bruce Springsteen, Shania Twain.
Which one of these things is not like the other one?
Shania Twain. It's up Bob Seger, weirdly enough. Everyone else dances in a dress. No, Bob Seger was amazing. I can put that out there. Saw the Eagles, the Monkees. I saw.
Ooh, cool.
Which I thought was actually really cool. I like the Monkees.
So do I. I really like the Monkees.
And so like I saw like a lot of that kind of music that I wasn't super into. So the first album I ever got was from my brother Derek, and he gave me the Gorillaz self-titled album. He also gave me Feel Good Inc., but I think the self-titled album is a little bit better. And yeah, that was like rap music. It was a big kind of undertone of that. It was mostly weird other independent stuff, but rap was a big part of that album. And I was like, oh, I like this because I was a stupid kid. I didn't know what I liked, but I liked rap. So from there, I kind of like didn't know what rap to listen to. And my brother Derek ends up like 7 years later, maybe. He was like, I like rap a lot. And I'm like, what's really? Because your favorite band is, I lost it. Radiohead. Got there.
Okay. That would make sense with the Gorillaz, too, as well. That makes sense.
Yeah, and it makes sense to me now that I'm older. So, but like that was his favorite band. He's seen them in concert like I don't know, like 17 times or something.
Wow.
Yeah, he loves them. And I'm like, okay, these seem different, but it makes more sense now. But he introduced me to a couple artists. Like I learned a couple of things. But later on, he introduced me to Kid Cudi. But he was like, you should listen to Kanye West. I'm like, that guy's a dick. And he's like, nah, just listen to Late Registration. So I listened to Late Registration. That album is fucking incredible. It's one of the best rap albums ever made, I think. And then I listened to that right around when My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy was coming out. Listen to that. That album is also fucking incredible. And from there, I was just, I was on board with Mr. West. And that was like 2010 was when 2009, 2010 was when I finally listened to those. So that's my relationship with Mr. West. I think his most recent album, Yeezus, it's entirely by himself. 10 tracks. It's very weird and very artistic. I think it's kind of like him experimenting with a lot of stuff, and that's what I like about him. He doesn't just do rap music. Like his sound from Late Registration to Yeezus has completely changed. And it's exciting because he always wants to do new stuff, and because he's such a fucking insane perfectionist, and he does most of the production work on his own music, as opposed to a lot of other rappers who just work with different producers and the like. He creates a different sound, plus with like his style is kind of sampling older music, like 30s to 50s music, and he started going even further past that to like 60s, 70s stuff. And I don't know, it's really unique, it's really cool. He's always changing up his game. And I think that's exciting. He doesn't care what people think of his
Clearly.
music. Well, like he doesn't care about appeasing an audience anymore. He wants to make the music that he wants to make. And
Excuse me, Alex. He prefers a yeezing the audience.
He doesn't yeeze his audience.
He does not team up with Aziz Ansari and perform concerts.
No, he doesn't.
Okay.
Although
I want to get that straight. I know some of Kanye's work. In fact, I have a very close friend who had the same Kanye trajectory as you did.
Okay.
So I'm kind of, when I hear your story, I hear shades of his, and I'm wondering actually now if this was kind of a thing where a bunch of folks became who were like really kind of into the music as opposed to just like looking for singles or beats or whatever.
Yeah.
Found Kanye around the same time, and then when My Beautiful Sick Twisted what is the name of the actual name of the title?
My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Dark Twisted Fantasy, right. When that album came out, it seemed to solidify, it seemed to resonate with a whole bunch of those people who were kind of interested in Kanye beforehand, because it's one of my friend's favorite albums of all time.
It's that album specifically is him doing what other rappers at the time were doing, which was kind of like doing a little bit of your own stuff, doing kind of like poppy beaty back sounds, like backtracks with raps, and also featuring a lot of other artists. It did all of those things, but it did it in a way that none of the other artists out there were doing it, and it created like a really unique sound that it's really unlike anything of that time, of like 2010 and stuff. And it's super impressive, I think.
Cool. I do need to give his albums a proper assessment, and it's interesting. I'm just going to go off on a mini tangent here before I talk about my own stuff. Hip hop was really big. Not the hits were big in my school, but it really hit one of my very close friends hard. And I'm a rock and roll person. I enjoy the rocks and the rolls. So if it wasn't for him, I definitely wouldn't have been turned on to hip hop as much as I am, or have the same amount of respect for it that I do as an art form. And he follows everything. So he liked hip hop from the 1980s and late 1970s, and then through the 2000s and right now. And every once in a while, I ask him for recommendations, and he gives them to me. And it's really important that you don't just, all of our hundreds of thousands of listeners, it's very important that you don't just stick to one genre. Even if you have one primary genre, it's important to understand and kind of delve into other genres, because it'll give you a different perspective on things.
Yeah, I agree. Like recently I've gotten really into electronic music, because I just, with me, it seems like the time I get into a genre is when I find an artist that I can really connect with.
Can I guess the artist?
Sure.
I'm just going to guess Anamanaguchi.
No.
They're great.
Anamanaguchi's good. I'm not like in love with Anamanaguchi, but I think they're good. His name is Savant. He's one dude. He produces like 3 albums a year, though, and I have no idea how he does it. And it was like I stumbled upon him. I listened to an album, or I listened to a song. I'm like, this sounds good. I bought the album when it was on sale, and then I listened to the album. I'm like, this is incredible. And then by the end of that year, which was last year, I saw him live in Washington, D.C., and yeah, he's unlike anything I've heard in the genre. So I think, yeah, definitely like maybe like cruise around genres.
Cruise around your local music streaming service, the YouTubes.
Yeah. But like, look for an artist that I think like you're like, I like this song, let me listen to other songs by this artist in this genre that I don't normally like. And you might be surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, the more you know. Yeah, you'll always benefit from being more open to things. Even if you find out that you genuinely don't like something, then you have an understanding of why that's true. Don't just make blanket statements about genres of music, even if it kind of hurts you to listen.
Yeah, like when I was in early in high school, I didn't think I would ever like rap.
You were too busy. You had Bob Seger's greatest hits on a cassette deck.
No, I did not.
Yes, you did. You called your friends. You're like, listen, I'm Alfighter 27.
None of this is
and
true.
You guys are my
lies.
Silver Bullet Band.
You just keep stalking it. It's all a lie, though.
No, I mean, it's pretty true. I can cut. By the way, I'm the one who edits the audio. I can cut all that out. So your defense is now. Oh, but I'm gonna flag this video for copyright infringement. So the video goes down too. So
one of the strikes for IP is just some bullshit. Oh my god. No, it's
Because I'm gonna hum a Kanye track and be like, oh, that was infringement. If you look at that, it's a problem. Take it down. Shut it down.
Rap is really good. It'll surprise you too.
I have two albums coming my way from the hip hop genre. They're both from the early '90s, though. Paul's Boutique by the Beastie Boys. The Beastie Boys are a good kind of crossover group. If you like rock
Beastie Boys
music,
is great.
then you should check them out, certainly. And then Leaders of the New School, their debut album, Future Without a Past, is very, very, very good, and I suggest people listen to it.
Yeah,
but Alex,
Brandt.
it's time to talk about my pick.
Yes,
which is the Beatles, and there was a long and winding road,
an Abbey Road,
Abbey Road, right,
if I may say,
to get to me liking the Beatles. Because when I was 13 years old, that was the year where I was very much into hip-hop music. I believe I owned a pair of Jinkos. It was 2004.
Mm-hmm.
It was all a problem. The clothing choice, not the music choice. And if I wasn't listening to hip-hop music, I was listening to pop-punk music. So your Sum 41s, your Bowling for Soups, your Good Charlottes.
Green Day, is that pop-punk?
Pre-Panic at the Disco, yeah, a little bit.
I think is that more punk? Just I don't know.
I think that's up for debate. We're gonna throw that one out to the fans.
Okay,
And
you're the pro. I am not. So I
I
recognize that.
consider that to be in the pop punk oeuvre. Blink 182, which is like rockin', that type of music. That's what I was listening to, and I changed my group of friends because I had a group of friends from 1st to 5th grade, and
they all sucked.
Moved to middle school.
So you changed them.
Yeah, exactly. No, I played Final Fantasy V, and I'm like, oh man, it's gonna change the jobs here. So 6th grade, there was a carryover of the elementary school friends, and then everything got shaken up in 7th grade. So I was hanging out with this new group of people, and they were kind of classic rock folks, because there wasn't really classic rock played in my house, so it wasn't something I was particularly familiar with. I did not go see Bob Seger or Shania Twain.
It's not like I went by choice.
I really wanted you to say it's not like I went by myself. It's not like you just went on.
I didn't go by myself either, as like a 6-year-old kid in a Shania Twain concert. Although that is going to be a
target
good
demographic
TV show that I'm going to write.
Oh, good. You should. It's just children going to inappropriate concerts.
Yeah.
All right. It's like good. It seems like you can really run with it.
Yeah.
A lot of episodes, a lot of mileage.
Mm.
So they were classic rock fans, and they were kind of talking about the Beatles, and I wasn't going to say anything negative because these were new friends, and I couldn't just tell them that listen, the Beatles, they played music a long time ago.
Yeah.
The world's changed now.
Would they be what genre would they be?
They're rock music.
Okay.
Technically, they're classic rock as well. Well, the reason I like them is that they really ended up being very versatile, but they're classic rock.
Okay.
So I didn't want to throw some shade on them. So I decided, okay, and I remember it very vividly. I was sitting probably about 2 feet away from where I'm sitting now, because where I'm at now was the computer room. Now it's the spare bedroom, and now my de facto studio.
It's the Brandt room.
Yes, it's the Brandt Kazooie room. It's where I play my banjo.
Yep. God damn
Alabama with a banjo on my knee. I don't think that I can do this anymore.
I'm gonna throw up.
You should. You should very well vomit because of my terrible puns. Unnecessary, kind of intended. So I was sitting here on the computer, and I had an iPod. At this point, no, actually, this is pre me having an iPod. I had this other MP3 player that was terrible. And I said, okay, I'm going to give these Beatle people one shot. I'm going to see why people like this band.
Okay.
And so I opened a tab on, at that point, I think I was using Firefox, maybe still Internet Explorer, and I typed into Google top 10 Beatles songs of all time. And there was an article from About.com that said top 10 Beatles songs of all time.
Damn.
Then I opened everybody's favorite program, Kazaa.
What?
Which was the music downloading website. No, it wasn't a website program. It was one of the first.
Is it pre-LimeWire or post?
Yes.
Oh wow. Shit.
Yeah, so I was pirating music in like 2001.
Okay. You're on the
So-
cusp.
Yeah, I was on the. So this was like one order of magnitude away from Napster.
Damn.
So Napster got shut down, and then I was using Kazaa.
Yeah.
And so the first song I remember, it was number 1, was the Beatles song "Can't Buy Me Love," and so I typed that in, and I downloaded it, and then I put it on my crappy MP3 player, and I said, okay, these people have got one chance. It's a 3-minute song.
One chance. 3 minutes of your life.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. And within 10 seconds, I was losing my goddamn mind. I'm like, I didn't even know music like this existed.
Wow.
I'm freaking out, and then I just listen to that song like over and over, and I'm like, how many albums did these people? What happened?
They put out a lot of albums, I think.
Yeah, these people are incredible. Yeah, 13 records, and so I immediately downloaded the other 9 songs, and I was freaked out because it was a top 10 list, and it was from all over their career. So they'd be singing more traditional pop music, and then there would be like psychedelic crazy stuff going on, and then there'd be like more laid back tracks, and I was like, these can't be the same people. The people who wrote this song could not have even written that song. That's preposterous. And from there, I just started pirating other random songs, which is funny because when I started to buy Beatle albums, which was in 2007, I was 16 when I actually bought 3 of the albums. One day, it was Abbey Road, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, and I think Rubber Soul was the other one. I bought those 3 albums, and I listened to them in their entirety, and I got it. I was like, oh, so this song fits in between these 2 other songs that I've never heard. And instead of it being this whole big disjointed thing, all these songs go together and form like this cohesive kind of unit. And that's how my love of and respect for the actual art of an album, not to be like really pretentious, because I love singles too.
Oh, yeah.
But that shaped my idea of like, oh, so it's 10 or 11 or 12 songs, or if it's the White Album, like 30. That all kind of fit in a similar kind of way, and they're sequenced in a way that makes them flow a little bit.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't have to be like a super smooth thing necessarily.
Right. No. It doesn't have to be a true concept album, but it's just like tonally, the lyrics will all kind of go together. That's why from the Beatles, my love of music just exploded, because I said, okay, well, I like Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. What other albums came out around that time? And so I downloaded albums from that time. And then, oh my goodness, well, who else was influenced by the Beatles? And then I got into indie rock, and really a whole bunch of different directions or roads were open to me by liking this one group that had a really diverse catalog.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Right, which is why I owe them a tremendous amount of debt. And they're a band that I certainly burn out on quite a bit. So I listen to the Beatles like every 2 or 3 months. I'll fire something up if I'm in the mood for a particular album of theirs. But I listen to them so much that it was bad for a little while there, because I went from some person who was like, hey, whatever, Beatles happened like 40 years ago, to being like, there is only one band. I don't know if you guys know this. All this other music that you're listening to is trash. They're like, no, not really. Like, the Kinks are a good band. I'm like, that's a really weird way to say the Beatles, isn't it? What Beatles song are you playing? What Beatles t-shirt are you wearing? What about the Beatles? Oh, it's a Beatle. It's Beatle. It really got into like a whole... I really lost my mind when I got deep into it. And then at some point I was like, I really can't listen to the Beatles anymore. And I think it was like 2 or 3 years. No, I mean, I really burnt out like 4 years later in a big hard way. But at one point, like 2 years into listening to the Beatles, I'm like, I can't do it. Like, I know a whole bunch of these songs, and it's kind of sad. And then somebody like tapped me on the shoulder, and they're like, hey, after the Beatles, those 4 people went on to make more music. And I was like, shut the front door. And so I got led down those rabbit holes, and I don't know. I think they're my favorite group for the diversity of their catalog, but also because it really kind of turned me on to all sorts of different other stuff. They're kind of like my base, and then things go on in all other sorts of directions.
See, I've listened to a little bit of the Beatles. I've dabbled.
A smidgen of it.
Yeah.
A spoonful of the Beatles.
I don't think I've ever listened to one of their albums front to back, which I'm sure I would appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
don't dislike them, but I just don't know if they're quite for me.
Right.
But again, this comes from like a place of ignorance. Like I don't differentiate like their best from their worst, or their lowest from their highest, or their styles from psychedelic to just rocky. And I played quite a bit of the Beatles rock band in hopes of kind of exposing myself to that, and nothing really grabbed me. And the one song that I unabashedly love by them is "Let It Be."
Yes.
And like I adore that song. But like that's the only thing that's really stuck with me. And it's weird because like I would never tarnish their name and say like what they did wasn't important or significant, or that they were a great body of like music as a group. But I always keep them at arm's length because I feel like it's just not for me.
One day the bug will bite you.
Yeah, like that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping if I get older, then maybe I'll just be in a different place in my life.
You're gonna get hair in different places.
Yeah, a lot of different places. And I'll listen to something and get it, or just like it then.
Right,
because,
and I don't see. That's the thing, is that I would never disparage somebody for not liking the Beatles. Like if they're not your thing, they're kind of not your thing. But it is fun to talk to folks who are like, I'm not really into the Beatles that much, and to ask them the type of music that they listen to, and then be like, oh well, you should try these few songs, and because again the depth of their catalog is crazy. But you will get lost in there. It is Alex is a drungle.
I don't doubt it. My aunt actually saw the Beatles live.
Wow, that's a cool distinction.
Which is super cool. She said it was incredible. So
yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah, it's cool. You know, that was like, you know, as far as I know, the first time British music just kind of blew up in the U.S. Right?
British invasion. That's right. Yeah, they came, and then a lot of folks freaked out because they were like, "Whoa, this is a whole different style, man."
Yeah, it's super cool. My dad saw John Lennon.
Wow.
Live. Yeah, which I think is pretty cool. He said that was great. Yeah, who had the best solo career after the Beatles?
I mean, I'm a George fan. I really love George, but George went off in all sorts of different crazy directions.
I've never heard anyone say that.
Yeah, well, then you've been hanging out with the wrong people.
Yeah.
So
clearly.
I'm a massive George fan. Paul's had the longest career and the most albums. So if we're talking about volume, and Band on the Run is a fantastic record. John, it's very weird because of the way that he kind of went out. Like the last solo record that he put out, which is very shortly before his murder, was supposed to be like the first of a 3-album series, and it was interesting to see the direction that he was going in, which makes that all the more tragic. But I don't know. I'm a big George fan. His catalog is kind of uneven, but it's really really it's fun to listen to because he has a whole bunch of different sounds. And then Ringo's on like everybody's records. Ringo drums everywhere, which is cool. It's cool that everybody called up Ringo and was like, "Hey, fucking get over here."
It's weird, like the whole Paul McCartney cross Kanye West.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, there was a meeting of the minds recently.
Yeah, and I think like all of Kanye West's next album is gonna be
collabs.
Yeah, I there was a rumor going around that Paul McCartney like executive produced it, but I don't know how much truth there holds to that. They've done 2 songs together. One of them is terrible because it has Rihanna on it. And the other one's all right. It's cool.
Yeah, I've heard bits and pieces of that, and I think it's cool too. I don't like when either of the fan bases freak out because of it, which is way more the McCartney fans freaking out about the Kanye thing than vice versa. But I'm like, hey, music is music, and the Beatles changed the face of music, so it would only stand to reason that a Beatle would be kind of hip to playing with contemporary artists and seeing what their view of the musical landscape is, and to kind of lend his hand because he's got a great hand and ear. And that's kind of what keeps Paul interesting.
Yeah, and I think you would say this about the Beatles, and I would definitely say this about Kanye West, is that I very much consider him an artist.
Yes.
Like, what he makes is very much art. And sometimes it's like the opposite of what I would consider conventional art, which I feel like conventional art is going away, especially in music and especially like with video games being art, and being like this weird interactive art, and yeah, like a lot of people like give Kanye West shit for a lot of different reasons, but like I don't know, there's something about the way he does what he does that you can tell that he loves and hates it at the same time, and he expresses that emotion through what he says and how he weaves together different like backtracks and beats, and it's really compelling. So
yeah, that's great. Well, Alex, thank you for taking me through this trip through your mind, through the journey of your cerebral cortex.
Yeah, we've talked briefly before. Like you are the music maestro, and music's such a huge part of your life, and I think that's awesome.
Yes.
As in the past maybe 4 years, I would say, music has become so much more important to me gradually, and now it's like it's hitting like an exponential growth. Like it has crept into my mind and my life in a way.
That is a really interesting. I just crept up too.
It's crept into me.
Yeah.
But it's
you just got that checked.
It's snuck up on me. Like I wasn't expecting like certain things that I've been listening to in the past like 6 to 8 months to have as much impact on me and my feelings, my thoughts as they have. And we joke about like me not like having like this weird deep connection to music in comparison to you, but I think it'd be interesting to sit and have like a discussion about why we love certain songs and music that we do.
Sure, one day it'll be you and I. Maybe that could be a live Waffles versus Pancakes topic.
Yeah,
where we can sit around with our smoking jackets and our bubble pipes
and our 400,000 listeners.
Yeah, 40,000.
4 million.
It's going to be broadcast to space and back. We're going to do it from space.
Yeah, it's cool. I like talking about music as I've gotten into it recently. So
yeah, that's great. All right, well, Alex, where can people find you on the internet?
I am in a variety of places by a very memorable username, Alfighter27. That's me on Twitter. That's the best way to get a hold of me. And you can read the stuff that I write on irrationalpassions.com. You can also check out Waffles versus Pancakes there. And
you just pointed at your junk. By the way,
I'm pointing at my computer, but it's not in the frame. So
I just wanted to let you know what was happening.
Just in my gut.
You're like, you could find me here, and I'm like, ooh, that's. I want to.
I mean,
rethink that.
Listen. It crept up inside me.
So please save yourself.
You can listen to Irrational Passions Podcast. I host that. Records every Friday. It goes up every Tuesday. It's about video games. It's silly. Brandt's been on it before. That's a good episode too. That's like a good first episode if you want to listen to one too. I think it's really good. So there you go. That's me pretty much.
Which leaves us with me, I believe. You can find me on Twitter at Branj, Branj. You can find my reading and my writing at readretro.com. You can read my writing and write my reading over at readretro.com. You can
find my readings.
It crept up inside me, that sentence, and I refused to leave. That's really, and Waffles versus Pancakes right here. I'm not doing any gestures. But yes, here on youtube.com/Irrational Passions. And yeah, hopefully I'll be on Irrational Passions, the podcast, again soon. That would be really fun. I did have a tremendous amount of fun. Yeah,
if you do end up coming down in May, I don't know like what the time frame you'll be here will be, but well, maybe we can get you in there for Friday and have a
slot it in.
Have a rip-roaring good time.
Yes. Well, thank you again, folks, for listening to us. Please, eventually this will be on iTunes. Subscribe and like the video, share the YouTube links, etc.
And take a you're sitting on iTunes on your iPhone or whatever.
Yeah,
device, your iPad, your iPad. And your
like, Apple Watch, you're sitting on it.
Your Apple Watch, you're sitting on your Apple Watch, and you're like in your podcast app, subscribing to Waffles versus Pancakes and Irrational Passions Podcast, of course. And you should just click on that page that goes to Waffles versus Pancakes, and go down there and write a little review and give us a little rating there, and say how much you love Brandt and I, because we know you do.
Yeah, we just want to confirm. We've already told all of our friends, but they don't believe us. Like how we have those uncles at Nintendo. So we really need this one. You need to like come in the clutch.
Yeah, don't lie to yourself or
Right.
us.
Be true to
Write that
yourself.
review. Give it 5 stars. Maybe you could give it 4, but it would be less cool. And send it in there, and we would love you forever, like we do.
Well, thank you folks again for listening, and until next time, stay classy.